The Krex delegation strutted into the Galactic Council chambers with their characteristic arrogance, their scaled hides gleaming under the artificial lights. Ambassador Zeth Ka, their war chief, towered nearly 3 meters tall, his razor-sharp, claws clicking against the metal floor as he approached the podium. Behind him, the assembled representatives of a dozen predator species nodded in approval. The wolf-like Fenari, the mantis-descended Kithera, and the bear-sized Urson warriors. Honored Council, Zethka's voice rumbled through the translation, matrix dripping with contempt. We gather today to address the laughable proposal that humans be granted military protection status for their colonies. Scattered laughter rippled through the predator block. The human ambassador, Sarah Chen, remained perfectly still at her delegation's table, her weathered hands folded calmly before her. These soft creatures, Zethka continued, gesturing dismissively toward the human section, claim to have military experience. They speak of veterans and combat prowess. Yet look at them, small, weak, lacking natural weapons. Their largest specimen barely reaches my chest. More laughter erupted from the predator species. The Krex had dominated 3 star systems. Through pure military might, their warriors bred for millennia to be perfect killing machines. The idea that humans, who had only achieved interstellar travel 50 years ago, could pose any military threat was absurd. Perhaps, Zethka's mandibles clicked in amusement, they could tell us tales around a campfire instead of pretending to be warriors. Ambassador Chen rose slowly, her movement deliberate and controlled. She was a small woman by human standards, perhaps 60 years old, with silver-streaked hair and scars that spoke of old wounds. The chamber fell silent as she approached the podium, her footsteps echoing in the vast space. Honored delegates, she began, her voice quiet but carrying clearly through the hall. The Krex are correct about one thing. Humans are not built to be natural predators. Approving nods came from the predator block. Several smaller herbivorous species shifted nervously in their seats. We lack claws, fangs, armored hides, or overwhelming size. When our ancestors first walked the savannah, they were prey animals, weak, vulnerable, easy targets for creatures far more physically imposing. Zethka's reptilian eyes gleamed with satisfaction. But there's something the Krex don't understand about prey animals, Chen continued, her tone hardening slightly. Predators hunt when they're hungry. Prey fights when it's cornered. And humans, Ambassador Zethka, have been cornered for over 200,000 years. She pressed a control on the podium, and holographic images filled the chamber, ancient cave paintings showing humans hunting massive creatures with primitive spears. We learned to kill mammoths with sharpened sticks. We tracked apex predators across continents. We turned wolves into pets and made eagles do our bidding. On a world filled with creatures designed to kill us, we became the apex predator, not through evolution, but through intelligence, persistence, and an absolute refusal to give up. The chamber had grown completely quiet. Even the predator species were listening intently now. You want to know about our veterans, Ambassador? Let me tell you about Lieutenant Colonel Martinez. Another holographic display showed an elderly human man with kind eyes and a gentle smile, sitting in what appeared to be a garden. 83 years old, enjoys growing tomatoes and teaching his grandchildren to fish. He held a single checkpoint against 3,000 enemy soldiers for 46 hours with only 30 men. When reinforcements arrived, they found Martinez, still at his post, having sustained 11 major wounds and refused evacuation 4 times. The image shifted to show a battlefield map with red indicators surrounding a tiny blue position. Or perhaps Captain Singh, who led her unit through a 6-month siege with minimal supplies, improvising weapons from scrap metal and keeping morale high by organizing poetry readings between firefights. The enemy eventually surrendered, not because they were defeated, but because they couldn't break the human spirit. Chen's voice took on a sharper edge as she faced Zethka directly. You see, Ambassador, human warfare isn't about size or natural weapons. It's about taking teenagers from farms and factories and turning them into individuals so dedicated to their cause that they'll throw themselves on grenades to save their comrades. It's about ordinary people who become extraordinary when everything they love is threatened. The holographic display now showed rows upon rows of human soldiers, young and old, male and female, representing every ethnic group on Earth. Every human colony has these veterans. They taught school, ran businesses, raised families. But each one of them can field strip a weapon in the dark, treat combat wounds with improvised supplies, and fight for weeks without proper food or sleep. They are walking libraries of tactical knowledge gained through conflicts you cannot imagine. Zethka's confident posture had begun to shift. Several Predator delegates were consulting their data pads, likely reviewing human military history for the first time. The Kreks have impressive warriors, Chen acknowledged. Bred for combat, physically superior in every measurable way. But they've never faced an enemy that fights not just for territory or resources, but for the survival of everything they hold dear. They've never fought humans who know that surrender means extinction. She paused, letting her words sink in. We don't seek conflict, honored delegates. We never have. Humans prefer peace, cooperation, and mutual prosperity. But we learned long ago that peace must sometimes be defended with violence, and we became very, very good at violence when it becomes necessary. Ambassador Chen returned to her seat as the chamber erupted in heated discussion. The Predator bloc was notably quieter now, their delegates engaged in urgent whispered conversations. 3 hours later, the Galactic Council voted to grant military protection status to human colonies. The measure passed by an overwhelming margin, with even several predator species voting in favor. As the session concluded, Zeth-Ka approached Ambassador Chen in the hallway outside the chambers. Your words were illuminating, he admitted grudgingly. Perhaps the Kreks judged too quickly. Chen smiled, the expression transforming her weathered features. No judgment necessary, Ambassador. We're all on the same side here. But if anyone ever threatens human colonies... She let the sentence hang unfinished, but her meaning was crystal clear. Zeth-Ka nodded slowly, a new respect evident in his predator's eyes. The Kreks will remember this day. As the alien delegations dispersed, several species approached the human table with requests for military cooperation agreements. Word had already begun spreading through the galactic networks. Humans were not to be underestimated. After all, any species that could turn prey animals into apex predators was not one to be trifled with.